Mike Alcoholic. I put a lot of thought into that spiritual axiom, there's whenever I'm disturbed, there's something wrong with me. What about justifiable anger? These dangerous exceptions ought to be better left to someone who better can handle it. And I'm thinking myself, I'm looking for that person that I can turn over my things to that can handle it. And I'm not referring to God. I've never met anybody in a room that I can turn my things over to. So I think that the steps help me to deal with my things that come up in my mind in a more appropriate way. They help put me in a state of mind and state of life that I can be more proactive rather than reactive. Reactive is where I've caused a problem, I've caused some chaos, I've made a mistake, I've caused a mess, and then I have to fix it. Mess, fix it. Mess, fix it. Proactive is raising my head a little bit and seeing the pothole before I get there and walking around it. And that's when life can get, some people have described as kind of boring because there ain't a bunch of crisis and chaos going on, and then I start finding out how addicted to chaos I really was. And then hopefully I've got something in my life when I'm in one of those times where I'm saying, man, there's nothing going on. It's kind of boring. And they say, well, that's called serenity. That's what we're trying to get. And then somebody like Sam will say something along the lines of, well, you know, I guess now you realize that serenity is not just a dancer at Sammy's, which I heard him say 20 years ago that I thought was funny as hell, and it's still funny. Sam delivers it a lot better. But when I think about that spiritual axiom, I think about it talks about, and we've mentioned absolutes, and I've already mentioned how it says there's exceptions. When it says whenever I'm disturbed, there's something wrong with me, and I began to ponder with the idea of the exceptions in there. Are there times when I'm disturbed that there's not something wrong with me? And the perfect example that I always use when the spiritual axiom is used as a topic is baby seals. Because if I see somebody clubbing a baby seal, I'm going to be disturbed because I don't like anybody abusing animals or children or women. That's going to disturb me. The real question is, because I'm disturbed about that, is there something wrong with me? And the answer is absolutely not. So the reason I'm telling an extreme example for this example is so I could prove my point is that this program has taught me what I stand for. Because there is a lot of things that I thought was okay when I got here that are not okay now. And that is called progress. And that's called part of that transformation and psychic change. And you can put a lot of things in the middle of those terms, but this is one of them. Although I think somebody clubbing a baby seal would have disturbed me before I got here. There's some things that I've always not thought was cool. Beating women and beating little animals. You know, that's the example I used. You could definitely fill in the blank if you'd like. But the key is that this spiritual axiom makes me think about the things that disturb me. And what this program has given me is it's shown me what I stand for because, as somebody said a long time ago, it wasn't Malcolm X. It was actually a guy in the Senate floor in 1947, Peter Marshall. He said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And this program has taught me what I stand for. And it's already been mentioned sometimes coming in meetings, you know, knowing what you're going to share is sometimes going to ruffle people's feathers. Just mentioning the big book tends to disturb people in AA today. And I find that interesting. Joe and Charlie said it best for those of us who feel like carrying the message is very important, lest it be lost in the shuffle of watered downness. Joe and Charlie said those of us who have recovered from serious drinking have a duty to come in meetings and share what we need to share regardless of what people think about it, because if we fail to do so, we turn AA over to the sickest of the sick, and we would wonder why it doesn't work anymore. So I think it's important that the people that used to disturb me by talking about the book, there was something wrong with me, and now I'm one of those people, thank God. I've had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, and I'm back.